Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another conversation with Kelly. I am your hostess with the mostest, as I say. So thank you for joining us. This is just, again, another conversation. If you can imagine sitting in a restaurant or at home with your friends, just kicking it and hanging, and they drop some gems and nuggets. So that's what these conversations are all about. We're dropping gems and we're dropping nuggets to help transform and change your life. Today, you are in for it. Well, first of all, I know you can tell this is a new time for us. We are normally on Sundays at 3, but we have such power-packed guests today that it had to be scheduled during the week. And you'll see why in just a second. I am so glad and proud that they are with me on today, and they'll get a proper introduction in just a second. But do me a favor. I want you to like, subscribe, share this video. You never know who will be watching that will be encouraged and inspired and receive one of those nuggets that I mentioned earlier that can transform their life. Today's topic is going to be meet the authors of the BlackHER story Anthology. Again, meet the authors of the BlackHER story, HER, Anthology. And again, we'll go into more detail. And also comment, let me know where you're watching. If you give us a shout out, we'll shout back out to you. So again, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am going to bring on my guest. I have Apostle Lavella Mogary. I have Dr. Shantae Bass. I have Miss Toya. I have the wonderful Miss L. Nicole Goodman. And I have Miss Joanne Blanchard. Welcome, ladies.
Hi. Thank you. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you.
I am so glad that you all took the time out of your busy schedule. And when I say they are busy, ladies, trust me, they are busy. So you guys could have been anywhere doing anything, but thought it not robbery just to come and share a little bit about what you wrote, why you wrote it, to help inspire the viewers. So again, welcome, welcome, welcome. And welcome Annette all the way from Charleston, South Carolina. Hello, how you doing, Miss Yolanda Tyler? Greetings, greetings. Welcome, welcome. So we are not going to be labor and long prolong the time because of the awesome women that I am about to introduce. First and foremost, I have got to introduce the publisher of, and correct me if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, News Mass Media.
Correct.
Is that how you say it?
News Mass Media.
News Mass Media. This woman just came from Canada, what, 2 days ago? 3 days ago?
A couple days ago, yes. Mm-hmm.
on her way to Antigua. And where else are you going, Apostle?
And then we loop back to Houston, Orlando, and the last leg is in Atlanta with the tour.
Wow. Wow. And I asked her last night when we talked, I said, have you caught up on sleep yet? She says, no. So welcome, welcome. I want to first start out with you and find out when did the writer, the gift of writing, the love of writing begin to be birthed in you?
I've always liked writing or like writing poetry, but I didn't know it was a gift. It was a place where I could go to or run to be able to express my thoughts and or my feelings, my pain, or anguish at the point. So I didn't know that I was a writer then. I just know that was my place of refuge and a place of relief. I discovered later on that I am a scribe, which means I'm able to see yet hear. And then from there, I'm able to, and I say it's spiritual things, and then able to write what I see or write what I hear. And again, over time, developing the gift, because you still don't trust what you see and trust what you hear, you kind of put yourself in some circles. So just to hear one echo, yes, I heard that, I saw that, and just to find myself with the same like minded people. But it was Dr. Murphy who literally brought that out of me. She had a writer's workshop, and I went to the workshop, and she just said, "You got to write those books that you have in you." And I said, "I don't have books in me." And she just kept saying that. So we went to the workshop, and then she gave the layout, gave us homework as to what to expect the next time we meet. Well, the next time we were supposed to meet, she had a family emergency. We couldn't do that. But the funny thing about it is, on the way home, I saw the book title, I saw the content, and I was still fighting it within myself. So when we did finally meet, we're supposed to submit our homework. How about I wrote the book, I published the book, had it shipped to me, and presented it to Dr. Murphy. And that blew her mind. It blew my mind because I took the step further because once I dug in, I just couldn't stop. And I started doing, research. And I was researching, how do I do this? How do I do my table of contents? How do I do? So I jumped ahead of the game. So what I'm saying is that God used Dr. Murphy to unlock something in me, to activate something in me. And upon she doing that, I didn't wait until we met up next time. I just totally just went, and I put my whole self in it, and I had chapters laid out, and I did the book cover, and I published it through Lulu, and she was very impressed by the page, the quality, the cover of the cover, the gloss on the cover, and she was like, "Wow!" She said, "I thought you said you didn't have any books in you." So at that point, I didn't realize it, but I realize it now that what she did that day and what she was pulling out of me, I didn't know that it would have brought me to this point where I'm now doing the same for
The
others.
exact same thing. I was just going to say that. Yes, you are. Yes.
And
yes.
so, and at that point, just being that midwife, want to push one to write, but to pull out what's in dormancy and to now see those words become life. It's a beautiful thing. And I help one with the stages. Where do I go? What's the next step? And then go from there. And so there's so many phases when it comes to writing, from the scribal standpoint to one that's writing poetry. There's so many phases. So I've taken the time to not only study, but to be able to master my craft, to be able to help and assist something else. When I first published, it was under Prophetic Scrolls Publishing. And since then, I've changed the name to New Mass Media. So New means intelligence. So anytime one writes and publish their books, what they're doing is news. They're raising the level of intelligence. Anytime someone reads a book, they're raising
Yes,
the level
yes.
of intelligence. So every time they touch it by news publishing, they're tapping into their intellect, and they're raising their consciousness. It's doing something to them. And that's why I changed the name of the publishing company.
Wow,
Mhm.
wow. Well, you are definitely doing exactly what Dr. Sandy Murphy, I'm presuming, right? Yes, yes.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
yes, yes.
for what she did for you, you're now doing it for others.
Yep. And now what I do when a book is done, she said, "Give me one of those books." Now, this is me sending her a Kindle. She said, "I don't want a Kindle. Just send me the copy."
She wants
So
the
this
hard
is me.
copy.
So I have to ship her a hard copy. And at that
Yes,
point, she's
yes,
just looking at like, "Oh, look at this." She's looking at the investment.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Mm.
Well, again, how many have you published?
Oh my gosh, I don't remember. I just know there's books, magazines, audios. Years
Yes,
ago, I did newspaper. I'm going back to do distribution, so more heavy magazine and a newspaper, because within the next 5 years we won't have any more newspapers because everything is going digital. So I'm tapping
Mhm.
into that from a standpoint of what we're doing here. This project is literally helping me to now, when I said dig into our history, dig into it.
Yes,
And in my chapter, I talk a little bit about it. It's talking about Sankofa. Sankofa in Africa means to go back and get it. And so with BlackHER story, you'll hear each author's story. You'll hear their experiences. They will share their life story, but you will also tap into their journey. And in that journey, you will go back and get it. You'll go back. They'll turn back and where they grab hold of their power, grab hold of their significance, grab hold of their identity, they grab hold of the being of them. So each author went through that journey. And now in their writings, you'll be able to read it and also hear a little bit about it today.
absolutely. And
Mhm.
just reading the titles, things of that nature, is, I call it one of those Selah books.
Yes,
That I can tell is going to be one of those where you just stop, reflect, and go,
yes,
okay, I'm
mm,
okay. I can do this. I
yes,
can do this.
yes.
I can do this. And you
Mm,
pulled
mm.
the best women to do it, I believe. Just simply go through the
Powerful
titles. I haven't
women.
read the stories or anything like that, but just the titles
Mhm.
are
Powerful
powerful.
women. Yes, and I love doing projects like this, but to hear the core and the essence of them, to hear not only their history, but to see physically and experience their journey, but to hear the weight
Yes,
of their
yes,
substance. So I'm the one yet publishing, but I'm the one that have my hand under the chin, like you're talking about. I'm like, oh my God.
yeah.
Yes, very breathtaking. I'm so I said happy, but more proud of their contribution.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm.
Well, that's a good place to bring in some of the ones that we're talking about.
Yes, yes.
So first, we're going to talk about. Well, first, before we do that, what is an anthology? For those viewers out there who don't know, what is an anthology?
Anthologies where there's a collaborative of authors coming together to
Mhm.
contribute their manuscript or their chapter, and it's all again a collaborative work of authors contributing their manuscript.
Gotcha, gotcha. And I just
Hmm.
wanted to clarify that for, again, those who don't
Hmm.
know, so that when you say or see the authors, you go to, well, which one is the author? All of
Yeah,
them.
all of them. Yes,
Link
yes,
arm in arm to for a common purpose. And this book is designed specifically, right, for the millennial women, young women.
yes. Hmm.
Get
Pouring
the
back
book.
into the next generation of women. Correct. Yes.
Get the book. That's all I'm gonna say. Get. Well, we're going to meet the first author, Miss L. Nicole, or Nicole, I guess, as you prefer to be called, Goodman. Welcome to Conversations with Kelly.
Thank you for having me, Kelly. I'm so happy to be on the show today. Thank you,
Well, I'm
Dr. Lavella, for inviting me into the project. I am excited.
Oh,
well, I'm
we're
excited to hear
excited
you
too.
talk about your title. Uh, getting through the fog.
Mm, mm, mm.
So
You know,
you got to break that down.
you know, I actually chose the title at the end of my writing. I
Okay.
didn't. I knew what I wanted to write about. I knew the message I wanted these young ladies to walk away with. But that was a whole God thing of the fog, because what I realized is that I wanted to translate a current
Mm.
situation that even that I have to go through, because a lot of times people look at me and think, oh, she have it all
All
together,
together.
she don't have any issues, she's
Mhm.
happy, and whatever it is. And so it's like, where am I? What would I need to hear right now? You know,
Yes. Yes.
and though we know this subconsciously in the back of our minds that we have to keep pushing, we hear it all the time, but it's not until you really sit in it and say, I am going to put one foot before the next, and I'm going to keep navigating through, despite not knowing what you're getting into. It's that conscious decision of, I know I'm in a place of darkness or despair, but no
Mhm.
matter what I'm going through, is either I stop here or I keep going. And
Right.
who's going to
Right.
stop in the fog? But I also wanted to put, something metaphoric to it, that your fog is your own personalized situation
Mm.
and
Mm.
experience and
Mhm.
struggle and challenge. And that could be hurt, that can be loss, grief, it can be shame that you're dealing with. It could be a variety of things. Your fog is personalized to you, but despite what it is, how do you navigate and continue to move forward through it? And that was the message that I wanted to leave with the ladies.
Mm.
Wow.
Mm. Mm.
Wow.
Mm.
I cannot wait to read the whole entire chapter that you wrote. Because that fog is sometimes can be so blinding and so thick that there's no way you can figure out on your own how to get through it. But you have to know, like you just said, you have to keep pushing through, keep going forward, and not get stuck.
It's people think life just happens, and it doesn't. It's actually just a choice that you make each
Mm.
time. And if you think about, I know for myself, I've said, oh, I just want to give up. And you
Yep.
go lay in the
Yep.
bed for 2 days. And then on the third day, you wake up and say, okay, I'm going to try one more thing.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep.
Because, when you have that type of resilience,
Yeah.
giving up, it just sounds good. But your whole mind, body, soul makeup will not allow you to just stop. It's a issue that you have internally. It's not going
Mhm.
away. And the
Mhm.
minute you get out of this fog season, you may enter into another.
Into another. Yes.
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 And so
Yes.
it's important to realize that despite where you are, it's okay to be there, but you still have to keep navigating through to get to the next season in your life.
Very
So, is
good.
it safe to say that the thickness of the fog could relate to all that one is dealing with because of the?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Dr. Lavella, let's just say my fog is yeah, I just left a long-term relationship. For me, that thickness might seem gigantic.
Yes.
But for you leaving your relationship, you're like, okay, I'm over that. And it may seem just a little foggy. And then
Mhm.
vice versa. I deal with mental health. My fog seems very thick sometimes, where the next
Mhm.
person
Mhm.
may deal with anxiety, but they're able to continue their day-to-day life despite feeling those feelings. So I don't like to personalize the fog based on a particular situation or issue, because for each of us that's going to show up different in our lives. I think what's important to know is that when we start feeling overwhelmed and feeling defeated, that's when we need to start reminding ourselves that I'm going to consciously choose to keep moving forward despite knowing what I'm getting to next. And this situation is not forever. It's a right now situation. This is
Right.
what I'm going
Right.
through right now. This is the feeling that
Right.
I'm having right now. I'm not going to have this feeling next week. you know, this is where I am right now. And sometimes it's easy for us to to have this forever thinking. I'm always going to be like this. I'm always going to feel like this. I'm
Mhm.
always going to be alone. I'm always going to come in at the end. You know, I think it's important to remind people some things, most things, is right now. And you know, the word tells us there are seasons.
Yes.
Some
Yes,
of these
yes,
things, some of these fog
yes.
seasons right now, they're not for next week, they're not for next year. And no matter what that represents in your life, we have to continue to be persistent and consistent to move through whatever those situations may be.
And I'm glad you said that, because based on the density of the fog when going through or pressing through whatever the situation may be, it just seems at times that the further you go is the thicker the fog get. And at that point, in right in the middle, at that person's breaking point, that's
Mhm,
when they give up and they say, you know what,
mhm,
I'm turning back around. I can't do
mhm,
this.
mhm,
Because just like Dr. Kelly said earlier, it seems like you can't see your way through. It
mhm.
just gets thicker and thicker and thicker. But you said you just have to navigate your way through. So, how do one navigate their way through?
You know, it's that conscious decision that I was
Mm,
talking about. It's saying, like you said, what happens when we get at that breaking point? We give up. We turn
mm,
around. We get stuck where we are.
yes.
The only other choice is to move forward. You already
Mm,
know what's behind you.
yeah.
And if you
Yep,
stay right here,
yep.
that's when you hear people say, I just feel stuck. I just feel trapped. Because they don't know what to do. They're in the thickest fog in their life. They don't know if they're turning right or left. They don't know. We don't know. All we have to do is tell ourselves, you know what? I already know. I already know what's back here,
What's
what's
behind
south.
it? Yeah,
I,
right,
I
right,
got to keep
right.
going north if I want to see anything. And so it's just the conscious decision that says, you know, I'm hurt right now, but I'm gonna keep moving. You know,
Mhm,
I don't
Mm,
feel well right now, but I'm gonna keep moving. I don't
mhm,
want to take my medication right now, but I'm gonna keep moving. You know, and I work with people, with families, with individuals. I've done this for a while, and it's like a repeating album because we're humans. We
yes.
all experience all these different layers of issues and situations, and we get stuck in all these fog. But at the end of the day, the one thing that remains is that we can't stay there.
Mm,
Life doesn't stop.
mm,
So
mm,
yes,
to answer your
yes.
question, Dr. Lavella, that would be how I respond. You know, you
yes.
have to decide. I don't care what I've experienced back here. I already know that was terrifying. It was horrible. It was the worst thing. But I don't know what's in front of me. And I might run into another stumbling block, but I got to take the chance because staying
Mm,
here, I'm just stuck in the midst of this fog and I'm trapped. And a lot of trapped people are, um, you know, it leads to very fatal
mm,
consequences when people feel trapped. And that's
Yes,
what we don't want to
yes,
happen.
yes,
When people
yes.
feel trapped, it's when they decide
To
enough is
fight
enough.
or flight. Mhm, mhm,
Yes. And
mhm.
so at the end of the day, we want to save lives. People should not
yes.
just exist. They should enjoy life, have abundance of life, live. And so to save those lives, we got to help people get out of those fogs. We got to help people push forward. We got to do what we're doing now, put projects together, motivate people, talk to people. So somebody that's listening is probably in a deep deep place right now in their fog. And you know what they're saying? I want to give up. I don't know what to do.
Mm,
But just hearing us discuss, no, ma'am, one foot before the other. No, sir, one
Mhm,
foot before the
mhm,
other. Now
mhm.
they can't unhear what they've already heard.
mm,
So
Right.
yes, they can't unhear it. So it's like, okay, I don't know how to do this, but I'm gonna do something. And that's what you want people to remember from segments like this. That's one nugget right there. Just remember that you can't stay there. You got to keep
mm.
moving,
That's right.
pushing.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for
Well,
that. And then go ahead.
I was gonna say I appreciate that my battery is running low, so I had to quickly plug it. I didn't realize it was plugged. My laptop.
Mhm.
Uh, Valuable insight and information, because you're right. If you stay there, you're right. You're going to be there for the next 20, 30 years. So you have to make that decision. Okay, I'm going to fight my way through this pain, through this fog, whatever that fog may be. But I'm going to get through it. I'm going to push past it. And it doesn't hover long. The fog doesn't last a
That's
lifetime.
right.
It's for a
Absolutely.
momentary season. Yes.
And also for one to trust their instincts. That's what I keep hearing while you were talking, Nicole. Trust your instincts.
Yes.
Because a lot of time we ignore the signs and the signals while we're going through the fog. So that the fog is also teaching us to trust again, trust in your ability to come through, to make it through. Thank you so much, Nicole, for the surety, and at the same time reminding one, while you're waiting for life to happen, hey, you got to take charge, and you got to be the one to get up out of this, navigate
That's right.
out of this, go into your next. Thank you so much for that, Nicole.
No problem.
Absolutely. Wow. Okay. Well, we just gonna go to the next round. Every round goes higher and higher, as that old song says. So, Miss Joanne, welcome, welcome, welcome. Can you hear us? Oh, I think we lost her. Well, that's okay. When she comes back on, we will talk to her. Miss Toya Guerrero, is that right?
That is correct.
Welcome, welcome,
Thank you
welcome.
so much. Thank you.
Well, we are glad to have you. And I gotta say, and again, I just read the titles. Your title is "Being a Woman is Challenging." Can we put that on the billboard? Some t-shirts, because being a woman, it ain't easy.
At all, right? Not at
No,
all.
ma'am. No,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am.
No,
No.
ma'am. And so you talk about being a woman isn't easy. So tell me, um, what inspired you to actually write about being a woman being not easy?
Right. So, thank you guys for having me on, first of all. Blessing to be amongst all of you guys. What actually prompted me to write that is because, first of all, I am a woman, right? So, with that being said, I have experienced so many things from childhood up until now that has tried to detour me and try to play on my emotions and things of that nature. Whether it's molestation, whether it's rape, whether it's abuse, mental, physical, whatever type of abuse it is, divorce, it's so many things that come along with being a woman, being a wife, being a mother, having a job. There in ministry, we have so many things, so many hats to wear, and sometimes if we don't have balance, it can become very overwhelming.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's kind of like one of those Whitney Houston song, "I'm Every Woman."
Yeah.
It's all me. And then that old what is it? It was Angelique perfume. I can bring home the bacon and fried
Frying
up
up in
in the
the pan.
pan. And
That's right.
women
Never,
are
never
supposed
let
to
you
be.
forget my romance.
Women are expected to be all of these things, but then at the end of the day, who and what is there for her as she's poured out, as she's given to the children and the husband and the dog, and so you are absolutely spot on.
Yes.
What
And
what?
so with the,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No, no,
I
go
was just
ahead.
gonna say that with that being said, we need other women. You know, the enemy has tried to stop us as women from actually building great relationships to make us feel like we don't need another woman, or it's so many things that comes along with that, and I'm not going to get into all of it, but there
Right,
are
right.
things that prompt us to not be able to trust. But God is saying you have to be able to trust your sister. You have to be able to allow them to pour into you, because if you're empty, you can't pour out. You need
Absolutely.
to find that
Absolutely.
sisterhood for you.
Absolutely. And not have that crab mentality, like, okay, I don't want you to go higher and have more than me, so I'm going to pull you back down in the bucket with me.
Yes.
So
Yes.
instead of linking arms, and that's what this platform is all about, to undergird each other, support each other, say, hey, girl, look, I got your back. I got you.
Yes.
You're going through this. I may not have walked down the same street, but I've been in the neighborhood. I've been in the hood. So I'm going
Exactly.
to help you.
Yes. And
Wow.
so, with trauma, it makes us to not be able to trust people. I went through so many different things in my life. That's why I wrote the chapter, because I know about being molested. I know about being physically abused and your mother not wanting you. I know about trying drugs and being out. I know about all of that. But something had to happen. I'm glad I got baptized at 7 and things of that nature. God was always speaking, but I didn't realize it.
Yes, yes, yes.
And thank you so much for pinpointing. You cannot pour out when you're empty. If only we could recognize and know or sense that we're empty, then we could stop the cycle of pouring out of a bankrupt state.
Yes. An
Yes.
empty cup.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Because we're empty at that point, but we're we're not detecting or realizing, because we've gotten into the regime or the cycle of doing till we have depleted ourselves, that we don't realize that we're running on fumes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So how can we pour into a nation when empty?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And what I heard was that was self-care is vital. We need it. Recognizing, though, we are in place to pour into and build relationships, like you said, build minds and empower our people, that we need to know when that we're experiencing burnout. Because in doing or going through burnout, we lash out, get angry, and out of frustration, we lose sight of purpose. And so if we as women, or could recognize or sense, and it's and I you know what it took me back to real quick. I had a friend, well, she's still my friend, and she is the one. She'll say, you always pouring out to people, let me pour into you. And every now and then we will meet up, and she will cook for me, and she will get me flowers. And at
That's
that point,
awesome.
Dr. Kelly, this was me. I don't deserve that. I don't need it. And she said,
Mm-hmm.
why? Because you're pouring into everybody else. I had a problem with receiving because I was busy pouring out. And so she was pouring back into me. And I
Yes.
missed the whole thing. So I'm saying, for the women, what you brought up is vital. I know you said it loosely, but it's so important. We could be in a position or place that we're pouring out to, and we could miss our moments of celebration and gratitude because we don't know how to receive.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
we could give out of emotionalism, manipulation. We could give out of wrong spaces. And that's what tapping into what you were saying. We need to become, this is what she said, Dr. Kelly. Women become sisters, and sisters become confidence. We need to have a sisterhood, a bond of
Yes.
sisterhood. And so we
Yes.
need to be able to say, hey, let me help you fix your crown a little. Let me help you,
Yes.
Yes.
will
Yes.
we receive it, or will we reject it?
That is
Like,
good,
mhm.
Apostle, because sometimes um, we as women get leery because we don't know how or what the motivation would be for that other woman
Mm.
wanting to help. Is it to find out information about us and then turn it against us? But if it comes from a genuine place, then it is much needed and it should be well received.
Amen.
Mm.
Wow. Well, Ms. Toya, I can't again wait to read the book myself. Uh, that is self care is just like I had to plug in that battery, or my laptop was going to go dead. So
Right.
self care, you would not want that to happen to your laptop. It's the same with your physical body, your emotional part. If you let it run down, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to give up and give out. So that was good, 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 good.
Yeah, and she gave this, Toya gave this advice that we as women, we tend to put ourselves on the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
But what
Mm-hmm.
she also tapped into is that we need to learn to be still, to be able not only to fuel, but to be able to lean into a source to be refueled.
Yes, 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 yes.
Who's your source?
Right.
Is God your source? And how do you get refuel? And sometimes, like moments like this might be, even though we're talking about our chapters and we're talking about BlackHER story, this could very well be a moment or a space where women are now pouring into those that are listening to bring about a refueling
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
of who you are, reminding you
Mm-hmm.
of who you are, and at the same time hitting trigger points and causing to bring about a balance, and for you to have those aha moments. And this is, could very well be the space where you're sitting Indian style, you have pen and paper, and you're having those aha moments, and you're like, oh my God, I really need to do and take better care of myself. So yes,
Absolutely.
Toya, being a
Absolutely.
woman is challenging, is a challenging task. Yet we must finish it, Toya. Yes, we must what?
We we got to do it. We
We
have
got to
to.
do
We
it.
have to
Got to
stick
do it.
to it. We
That's
have to
right.
Mm,
stick
That's
to it
right.
and know that he's not gonna. Now, this is not a scripture, so people, I'm not saying that because I grew up hearing that and people said it was a
mm,
scripture. But he's not gonna put more on us than we can bear.
come
So if
on.
we just be patient and allow him to do it, he's gonna do it, and he's gonna divinely connect you with who he wants to connect you with.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Divine
Absolutely.
connections.
Absolutely.
powerful.
Absolutely.
Mm,
Well,
mm,
Apostle,
mm.
I see Miss Joanne back. We're going to bring her on so
Okay.
we can finish with her. Welcome back. We can't hear you. Are you able to hear us?
Yes, I can hear. I'm
There
sorry
we go.
about that.
There we
Thank you
go.
so much. Thank
That's
you for putting
okay.
up with my technical difficulties as well.
No worries. No worries. So your topic, your chapter rather, is called "A Race to Be Love," a race to love and be loved. Let's talk
Yes.
about this race.
Well, so Dr. Lavella has been after me to bring what it is that I bring to the table, and for the longest, we've been talking about it since March, April, and I did not know exactly what I wanted to write about. And here's May, and she's like, "Are you? How close are you?" And I'm like, "I still don't know what I'm gonna write about." Here comes the month of June, and it's time to turn it in, right? It's time to
Mm,
do some work. It's time to get busy.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
all of a sudden, I heard the title, and I sat down to write and couldn't stop writing. It seemed to me like there was a pull, an energy that was pulling for that type of information, because so many of us, we want to be loved. We look for love. We need love. And
mhm,
yet and still, we're not taught how to love.
mm,
Because what we're not taught is we first have to start by loving self. And
Yes,
until we know how to love self, we will never truly know how to love anyone else.
that's right.
So
That's
whatever we bring will always be half stepping. It'll always be what we think the other person is looking for. But because we don't even know how to love self, then we have a false expectation of others loving us. How is that? We have to show others how to love us by first starting with loving ourselves. So when I heard that, I had to speak on that. There was it seemed to me like one of the most common things that we needed to understand, no matter the culture, no matter your background, no matter your sexual orientation, whatever it may be that may look different from the other person or the other people, up the street, down the street, on the other neighborhood, in the
mhm.
other in the other cities and states. We're all looking for the same thing, and it's acceptance and love.
mm, mm,
You are
mm, mm.
absolutely right. Just to be able to fit in, and I know teenage girls. We're talking. The book is mainly catered towards the millennials, and so you guys want to be accepted. You're at that age group where everybody's opinion matters. You want to be in the in crowd, the it girl. So you're absolutely right about that acceptance. But guess what? You said it so powerfully. If you don't love yourself, how can you love someone else?
Indeed,
You're
indeed.
going to love them from an empty um, cup, if you will, and you are going to accept whatever they pour in. If they pour in um, low self-esteem, anger, or being a narcissist or whatever they pour in that cup, because you're unloved and unfulfilled within yourself, that's what you're going to drink from. But if
Indeed,
you know who
indeed.
you are, know whose you are, then you're not going to let nobody put nothing in that cup that's not supposed to be there.
Okay, okay. I have 4 kids, 4 grown kids. Thank God for that. And one of the things, I have 2 girls first, and then 2 boys. And with the 2 girls, the one thing that I wanted to make sure that I did was I wanted to show them how to love self first.
Yes,
Don't let anyone come tell you for the
yes,
first
yes.
time. No one was going to be able to tell my children for the first time, especially my daughters, how beautiful they were. Because I was going to tell them
Absolutely,
from day one. From
absolutely.
day one, they were going to know how beautiful they are. And they were also going to know that beauty didn't have anything to do with being skin
With the
deep,
skin
right?
color.
It had to go very much deeper than that.
Mhm,
If you're empty, then you have no beauty in you. So you have
mhm.
to have a beautiful heart in order to be able to have a beautiful outside. So I did not want anyone telling my girls for the first time that they were beautiful and they were pretty. That is so shallow. And so that being said, I wanted to be the first one to tell them. Then I had to show them. Then
Very
I had
good.
to explain it to them.
Very
And then
good.
I had 2 boys. And I'm like, wait a minute, but they need to know that just as well, right?
Absolutely.
They
Mhm.
needed that information, that affirmation. They needed that confirmation from inside the house, so that when they go outside, no one is pouring anything false into them. So if if you're telling me for the first time how beautiful I am, I'm falling for anything else that you say outside of that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But if I tell them how beautiful they are and tell them what beauty looks like and where it comes from, and making sure that they tap into their source, then at that point, the one thing I know is not no one is going to just be able to pour anything into them.
Into
And I
them.
had to get them to
Absolutely.
understand that if you stand for nothing, you will fall for anything and
Everything.
everything.
Mhm. Mhm.
So the beauty had to start from within. It has to, within the household, within self.
I love it. Love it. Love it. Again, I can't wait to read the rest of the book. I mean, just the chapter, the title of the chapter, not the chapter, but the title. Powerful.
I appreciate that. That was all God. That was all God, because trust and believe. I was 2 days short of that deadline, and Dr. Lavella, I knew Dr. Lavella and I go so far back that we're not just author and co-author. We are friends, and I knew as a sister she was gonna kill me. So before I have to explain to my kids why I'm planning my own funeral, I had to make sure that I did what needed to be done. And so, yes, when I heard the words, I was like, God, you saved my life, because my sister was getting on a plane to kill me. Let
But
me,
what she also wrote about in her chapter is loving beyond the imperfections, loving beyond
yes,
the imperfections, because we could tear away tear away at ourselves. My nose is too big. I don't like my face. Don't like my color. Don't like my tone. Don't like my this. Don't like that. And we tear away with self hatred. We tear away of ourselves, but yet we condition ourselves, our mind, to love unconditionally
Mhm,
and
mhm.
set the terms of engagement, also the terms of to rule to love somebody else beyond us.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
how can we love? That's what she was reminding us in her chapter, that we need to be able to, love our imperfections, love beyond, love what's within, in order for you to love what's without. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for sharing that. And I love the fact that you said I didn't find out that lesson until I was in my 40s,
yes,
which means some
yes.
people are still finding that finding out that lesson.
Yes.
Yes. And
And
I wanted,
it's too
I
late.
wrote,
Too late.
I wrote that specifically because I wanted people to understand it's never too late. If it's a work in progress, a constant work in progress, right? And
Mhm.
so every opportunity that we wake up, we open our eyes today, we have an opportunity to get it right. We have an opportunity to learn something different and something new. We have an opportunity to impart something into others as well as being poured into by others. But we first have to accept and making ourselves approachable in order for us to be able to receive what it is that God has sent for us through others.
Mm, deep.
Very good. Very
Mm,
good.
mm, mm,
Wow. Well,
mm.
thank you for sharing that. And again, I can't wait to the book comes out. I'm not gonna spoil it. I'll let Apostle tell us when we can expect the book in its entirety. And I promise you, get the book. Get the book.
Let's get the
It will
book.
bless you. And even if it's not something per se for you, the goal and purpose of the book is for the next generation. So if you have teenagers, if you have millennials coming up, this is the type of book that you want to sow into their life. Because again, you never know. One little bitty sentence in the book could totally transform their life, could totally give them that extra motivation, that extra confidence, whatever is needed to get to the next level. So buy the book.
And tell, and for some that might say, well, I know you said it's for the next generation, but what I'm hearing right now is I'm resonating with it. It's for me, and I get it. So each author, though their stories are bridge builders and they all intertwine, I
Mhm.
guarantee you there's a story, there's a history. Her story, her experience is going
Yes.
to not only
Yes.
intertwine with yours. The thing about it is, upon reading it and upon now gazing your eyes upon her story, will you allow your story to be able to share your story with somebody else? Because I could just see people. Well, here's, you could have this, you could have this, and someone is like, no, I'm holding on to this for their life because this right here saved me. It helped me. It could very well be an anchor, and their words could very well uproot some things. But one,
Yes.
in order for them, each author to be able to share her story, they had to let go of some things. You have to let him go, her go, and let go of some things. So that for those that will be reading it, are you ready to let go of some things? Okay. But get the book. Get the book.
Get the book.
Get the book. Get the book.
All
Mm-hmm.
right. Well, certainly not last, because we have one other author that peeped in, but I think she's working, so we will let her join us shortly. But we have Dr. Shantae Bass with us.
Yes.
Welcome. Are you able
We
to
can't
hear
hear
us?
you.
We can't hear you. Are you on mute?
She might have to go out and come back in.
Yeah, you might have to go out and come back in. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
All
Mm-hmm.
right. Well, Apostle, I guess we can talk about the my little contribution while we're waiting for the
Yes.
others to pop back in. And I
Yes.
do want to say first, I appreciate the opportunity to be a part of the authors, the that I've met so far. Just phenomenal, phenomenal. So thank you for letting me just be a little bit of a pen and a piece of paper and slide it on in that cover. So my chapter is called "Don't Squeeze the Charmin."
Mm.
I'm gonna let that resonate for those young folks. Back in the 70s, 80s, there was a commercial of Charmin toilet tissue, and Mr. Whipple was the store manager, and there would be two ladies who always talked about how soft that Charmin toilet paper was, and he would catch them. They would have to sneak and try and squeeze it and touch it and feel it and all that. And his famous line was, "Don't squeeze the Charmin." So my chapter is not talking about toilet paper. So Apostle, you can go ahead and set the stage and ask the question about the chapter.
Yeah. So she's not talking about toilet paper, but she's also, when I said drawing reference to, and we'll get there. And Kelly, thank you so much again, because she's always interviewing us by the projects ahead. Now she's finally a part of this project. And when you said don't squeeze the Charmin, how do we make it easy for us? How do we make life okay, I put it this way: when you start writing about don't squeeze the Charmin, what came to you? Why that commercial? Why that title? Don't squeeze the Charmin. And I remember that commercial, by the way.
Well, go ahead.
They used to squeeze the Charmin.
Y'all telling our age, y'all know that, right?
Yes.
We know.
Why that one? Why that one? Yes.
Okay, taking you long story short, years ago, the Lord allowed me to walk through this vow of chastity, this celibacy, I should say. And after so many years, I began to teach classes. And had no clue how to relate to this young generation, because I was still young and trying to figure this whole thing out myself. And when it got to the part of trying to find a way that was not very offensive and too vulgar, too graphic, that commercial just came. So it came from a place of wanting to let them know that the touching and the feeling starts the feelings. Yes. Those feelings end up leading you places where you're not supposed to go. So that's how the title came to be.
Yes, because the touching and the feeling do lead to something else. And at the same time, when you start thinking about it, for those that are single, either male or female, that will be watching this program and going through the stages and phases of celibacy and being celibate, as long as you're busying yourself doing or building or implementing, executing, you're fine. But it's only until you're at that place where you're lonely, you're quiet, and your world shuts down, and you start quieting your mind. That's when the thoughts starts coming to the forefront, and you might not be comfortable. I'm just going to say sharing it. I'm saying that because we have a lot of women that's either in the workplace and especially here in ministry, they hide behind the closet. Now, yes, I said it. They hide behind the closet, they hide behind clergy, and if they forget that when it comes to dealing with you, the person, they're so out of touch. And I could say that because I remember meeting Apostle Mary. She was coming out. Her husband passed away, so now she's a widow, and she's coming back into ministry. And so when we met, I was her Ruth, and she was pouring into me. And she used to always say, prepare for marriage. And I'm like, yes, I am. Yes, I am. And she said, no, you're not. You hide behind that pulpit. I didn't see it then, but I know what she's talking about now.
Yes.
Okay, because we could be so busy in our careers. We're making six figures, and we were in corporate world, and we're driving that bad car, that you have that dream car, and now you are you're living out your dream. And at the same time, what you're doing is dumbing down or numbing the emotions that's bubbling within, and we deny it. And we deny it until we're at that point where we get shut down in our home, or we're in that room, and now the tears that you didn't want people to see. That's when my chapter come in Ladies in Waiting. If the sheets could speak. Because the pillow could tell more stories about your tears, about your agony, about your dreams, about your fears, and everything that you're dealing with. So when she says, don't squeeze the Charmin, don't allow those thoughts of loneliness and you hear this now, you don't want anybody to know, but then you find yourself sneaking here and sneaking there, and you're sneaking, doing all of this, thinking no one is going to know. But at the same time, she was saying that once you start entertaining those thoughts, it's going to manifest.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about it, how do you live? What I'm saying is that don't deny it. You're human.
Right, right,
You're
right,
human. You're a
right,
woman, and he's a man.
right.
And what we've done is that we've denied the essence of us, and we've become so robotic that we can't even have a conversation when it comes to dating, because all we're talking about is church. And I'm going to say it, talking about everything else but our natural self, because we are so out of touch with us. We don't know who we are anymore. And by the time you tap into you, you're tapping into an old version of you. You've outgrown you. You've outgrown you. So when you're saying that one should be in touch with their brokenness, one should be in touch with their singleness, one should be in touch with their struggles, and also allow those moments of processing. Otherwise, yeah, you're gonna be caught with him squeezing the Charlotte.
And that you took the point, the words right out of my mouth. Tyler Perry's "Why Did I Get Married?" The first one. Do y'all remember when Marcus walked around in those shorts in that movie?
Yes.
Now, I call myself being safe. I went to the movie to see it with a bunch of older women. So I'm thinking, okay, we're going to go out to lunch. We, have a good time. See Tyler Perry's movie. In the movie theater, when Marcus had those shorts on, and my girl told me to relate. Before I knew it, I said, "Oh, Jesus, keep me safe, Lord Jesus. Whoa, have mercy, Father." And the whole entire movie theater was laughing. I was serious. But the point I'm trying to make is I'm still human. I have eyes. I see good-looking men. But the part is I have to know how far to go. And with my message, I want to relate to the millennials and older and even younger. Know your boundaries, know your limitations, and know that when you get into a situation like that, you're opening up a whole lot of doors that you may not be strong enough to close. Soul ties, emotional ties, you name it. And so that's what the advice and the hope and encouragement that I through my chapter want to instill in this generation.
Yeah, powerful.
Yeah.
This generation, they will allow him to squeeze. That's okay. We ain't catching feelings, and then they'll just be lying to themselves. And after a while, they're like, he ain't calling me. And I'm like, I thought you're not catching feelings. No, so they thought it was a hook and bait,
Right.
Hook and bait. So they rehearsed all of these narratives in their minds, and like, I got this under control. In reality, you don't have your feelings or your emotions under control, because now you're falling in love with him. So, like you said,
women love with the emotional side. Men, it's more physical. So it's easy for them to, have their moment, 2 minutes of thrills, and they go and play basketball. But women, we are attached emotionally, and so it's a wonderful situation to be in the confines of marriage. So that's my little.
I think we need to have more of those conversations.
Yeah, because everybody is doing it. I mean, everybody is tempted by it. You cannot watch TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, whatever else they got out there without seeing something sexual.
Tell me about it.
If you don't,
and they're so open, Dr. Kelly. They're so open. I'm like, my mouth is dropping, and that's their norm.
Yes,
and they're looking at you like, and what? That's their norm.
Exactly,
that's their norm. So what we call experimenting, that is their norm.
That is their norm.
But I tell you what, but love don't lie. Emotions don't lie. So at the end of the day, it's going to tell a story. Will he love you back?
That's right.
Will it be an option, or will you be the love of his life? Will he chase you, or will he run from you? At the end, don't allow him to chase. Come on, Kelly. Don't allow him to squeeze the Charmin.
Because, and I'll say this, and we're going to move on to
Glory.
the other two to give them a chance to share their chapters. The
Yes.
most expensive diamonds that there are not even on the shelf for display. They are in the safe in the back under, well, I can't say for sure, but just as in my mind, I'm thinking under lock and key, machine gun. You have to have your fingerprint. I mean, the real expensive diamonds. So the point is, don't put yourself on display to be considered cheap. That's the cheap diamonds. You want to be the most expensive, the most desired. Let the man desire you. Let him chase you. We should not be pursued. The one who's doing the chasing, the pursuer, yes, they should pursue us because they see the value in us. But then it goes back to what my sister said. We have to have that value already instilled in us for ourselves.
Yep.
Absolutely. Did we lose Apostle?
She might have had her phone call. She was talking about.
Yes. Okay, that's okay. So we're going to go back to Miss Joanne, and then we're going to talk to our sister, Miss Shaquita. So Miss Joanne, go ahead and finish.
Okay. So, at the head of all of this, I would love, love, love for us to remember this is an experience that each and every one of us have. So if we're going to all have the same experience, I think it is very important. I think it is our duty to be the aunties and to be the godmothers to the little ones behind us, the next generation. I think it is our sworn duty as women to reach back and to teach, as they say, each one teach one. I think it's our sworn duty to reach back, grab the hand of someone else who's going through it.
Yes.
Because at some point in time, they are going to go through what you've been through, what you're going to go through. So sometimes it's not just about what it is that you can give them, but a lot of times they have so much to give us as well. So we have to align ourselves in a position in which we can allow people to pour into us before we even need pouring into. Sometimes the assignment that is given by God was not for the next person. Sometimes that assignment, that blessing was for you. But if you don't allow yourself to be blessed, if you don't allow yourself to be a blessing to someone else, you can never be blessed.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you for adding on to that part that you previously shared. Very, very good. Very good. Very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also is still with her call. So back to Dr. Shantae. Welcome back. Are we able to hear you now?
I don't know. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Good, good,
Okay.
good. Well, welcome to the introduction of the authors of this great book. And your title was called Creating the Right Place for My Next Steps to Succeed.
So,
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You broke up, but I can hear you.
Okay. So tell us what inspired that title.
Because you always got to take the next step. You always got to keep going. And when I was writing this, I was thinking about a place that I had came out of, and I had to push myself out of it. And then I could hear God say, it was very dark where I was at, right? But God started in the darkness. It was dark before he created light. It wasn't light until God said it was light. And people have to say that to people, because we forget that sometimes when we get in a dark place, we get scared, or we become nervous or antsy. But it didn't stay dark. It doesn't stay dark forever. It's just a temporary
place.
It's
right.
temporary place.
Right.
So
right.
Sometimes you have to go in the dark in order for you to get to the light. Because sometimes in the darkness, you are the light.
Oh, wait, stop, rewind, say that again. Sometimes in the
darkness, you are the light, but you have to be in the dark long enough to realize I am the light. I became Dr. Bass in a very dark place, and all I did was write. And I had forgot about it, and I started. But if I hadn't have been in that dark place, would I have ever became her? I don't know. I may have became her, but at a later date.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It took it to be dark in order for me to succeed at something. And that's why it was important to say it to, it can become dark, but it will become light, and you are the light. And people can see your light, and sometimes you can't see it because
Yeah.
you got your shades on, your glasses, you hiding because you
Yes.
you living in fear. Fear is just a emotion. It's just the emotion. And we as women are very emotional beings. So we got to know that things grow inside of us. We birth children inside us. And when they're in our belly, in the womb, they're in the dark. They don't see the light until they come out the womb or down the birth canal. They
Mm-hmm.
stay 9, 10 months in the dark before
Mm-hmm.
they even see the light. So we have to remember those things. So the dark ain't always bad. It's just what you do in the dark.
That's a good point. The dark is not always bad, it's what you do in the dark.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes. Very good. And so but you're speaking more specifically about women who have like a business mindset or something that they want to do in life, whether it's continue their education, uh, purchase a home, things like that, things that are going to be tough. And you go through those difficult times, but you're saying that in order to get to the next step, you have to push through, keep
Yeah,
pushing through, keep
can't
going.
stay there.
Mhm.
You can stay there for a little while. You can ponder in it. You can lay there for a few days, maybe a little longer than that if you need to, but you gotta come out of it. And
Mhm.
sometimes you come out and you got wings and you was like, Lord, that was me. No, it wasn't you, it was you and God. Because you needed him to bring you out of the darkness. He had to
Yeah.
carry you.
Yes. Yes. And so tell us about things that I would call like the obstacles. You mentioned fear is one that will prevent or stop someone from moving forward.
So when you scared, what you're fearful of something that you're unsure about. But how do you know it's not gonna work if you don't try it?
You try it.
And say for
Right.
instance, you try it and it don't work the way you thought. Then you just reinvent it. And you keep reinventing it until you get it right. But it has to happen because it's a process. You know,
Yes. Yes.
it's a process. And for a business or even education, sometimes it gets hard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you just got to figure out a way to it. Sometimes you got to ask somebody else for help. Just ask them. All they can do is say yes or
Or
no,
no. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
period. But
Mm-hmm.
it takes time to learn those things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And when you
Mm-hmm.
young and you trying to become a lot, COVID created a lot of entrepreneurs. And I felt like we needed to pour into cups. We want the youth to be different. We got to give them something. What happened? Long time ago, people used to give us something. They used to pour into us. Whatever your grandmother, your mother, or your aunts knew, they told
Right.
you.
It was passed down. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you may have changed it a little bit or tweaked it a little bit, but it was still the same formula that they gave you. Even
Mm-hmm.
if you changed the mixing of the cake and made it, you added something to it. That didn't make it wrong. It just means
Right.
you need to add to it. And we
Right.
have to say that to this new generation, or we have to say this just to even our generation. Look here, y'all. Nothing's perfect. This don't always work. But keep trying. Don't give up. Go ask somebody. Because no ideal is original. Every ideal is duplicated. So just recreate it.
Absolutely. It just recreated.
Yes.
I that right there is a gold mine because sometimes we think we have to be so original and so different, but if we just find the uniqueness in us or in what we're doing, producing, um, what you're saying is that's a way of succeeding right there.
Yes. You just got to keep going for it. Just keep reinventing it. Just keep doing something new. You do it the first time you don't like how it look, change it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Change it. Just
Mm-hmm.
keep changing it. Change it until you get it to where you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And don't let your fear keep you from changing it, because all these things happen inside of your head. So they're all thoughts. And thoughts create everything. That's what manifests everything.
Absolutely.
But you got to understand your thoughts, and you got to be able to sit with them sometimes, even when they're dark. You got to be able to sit with them. You got to be able to sit with them. And once you are able to sit with your thoughts and sit with yourself, you can see things. Go wherever you need to go. I go to the water and I sit. But people need to share it, because for everybody, it's going to be different.
Exactly. Exactly.
Everybody's going to be different, but we just need to share the information and pour it back into the cups. We want them to be successful. We want them not to be, we want them to do different things. No, they're not us. They don't even think like us, but they have the ability to become great. And we have to say that you have the ability to become great. You can succeed. Just because you failed doesn't mean that it was really a flop. It was just a learning. It was just a lesson. It was just experience. You had to learn it and experience in order to
To
recreate
perfect
it
it.
or birth it.
Mm-hmm. 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 You're at wow. I hope somebody's taking some notes, because that right there is worth its weight in gold. Who was it? Michael Jordan was kicked off his high school basketball team. I mean,
Hmm.
Michael Jordan, come on, one of the best of the best.
Yeah,
So, in other words, it's okay to miss the mark, but you have to get back on the horse and ride it and keep on going. If
yeah,
you fall two or three times, that's okay. Get back up. Learn the mistake that caused the fall, and then you don't repeat it.
yeah. You edit it. It's
Hmm.
like the book. You
Hmm.
edit it, fix it, prepare it.
Hmm.
You
That's right.
change the narrative.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Dr. Shante, it sounds like that is going to be another one of those chapters that I'm going to have. Where is my highlighter? I can't find it. Oh, here we go. My favorite color is pink, so this is my pink highlighter that I'm going to
Okay.
be highlighting all through your chapter. But
Mm-hmm.
she is a successful entrepreneur. All of my guests today are successful in their own right. And in a second, we're going to allow you the opportunity to reach out to them and contact them and buy the book. And so, last but not least, we have Miss Shaquita. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Miss Kelly. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to this conversation that we just having just amongst us.
Yes, no, I
You
am
folks out
enjoying it
there.
and loving the conversation.
Well, thank you for joining us and saying yes. And but most importantly, thank you for writing that chapter called "Becoming the Woman of Your Dreams." When I saw
Yes,
that,
thank you for having me.
becoming the woman
Go
of my
ahead.
becoming the woman of my dreams, I said, "Oh yeah, I got it. I need to become the woman that I dream and that I know I can be."
You got it. That's it right
That's
there.
my take. Now, again, I haven't read the chapters and all that, but that was my take on it. So, well, tell us about the chapter that you wrote.
Yes, ma'am. So, becoming the woman of your dreams, God gave that to me roughly about 2 years ago. I do have a women's group called Women with Vision and Purpose, and
Okay.
women with Vision and Purpose also has a podcast called Becoming the Woman of Your Dreams. And I kind of sat still on it for about 2 years because one, I wasn't confident in the woman that I was becoming. Like, I really had to do some self evaluation. I had to forgive myself for some things. But then instead of looking at other women, I had to look at what God has done in my life, what He is doing in my life, and the things that He's going to do in my life, and then be proud of the woman that I am becoming. So, long story short, I went through childhood molestation. I lost my dad at a very young age, actually, right before the day before my 16th birthday, he passed away. And he was
Oh
actually
wow.
electrocuted from helping out during Hurricane Rita. So, I come from a family of just always helping, always serving. I'm a single mother, became a mother at a young age. So it was just a lot of things that I had to accept of the things that happen in my life and be proud of those things and know that they are a part of my story, and not to become the woman next to me, not to become the woman that I see on TV, not to become the woman that I just deeply, admire, but be okay with becoming Shakita, becoming the person God has created me
Meant
to
you to
be.
be. Yes, yes, yes. And that is powerful because we want to imitate. I mean, who? Well, I almost said who would want to be like some of an R&B singer. I'm not going to name the names, but there are some people who really want to be like this particular person. I know y'all know who I'm talking about. Super, super famous star from Houston, Texas. But you have to be comfortable in who you are, because there are things that she can do we can't do, but there's things that you can do she could never do. And it
Absolutely.
shouldn't be a competition, like I mentioned earlier, with the crab mentality that I'm gonna pull you down. It should be, okay, you stand on my shoulder and I'll lift you up. And then when you get out, then you pull me up by the arms. And then guess what? We both out. We're both successful. So talk about
Yes, that is correct.
some of the things that changed your life based upon some of the mistakes that you made. Not naming the mistakes, but like, what words of advice would you give to this next generation of, who feel like they can't make a mistake and that they can't move beyond the mistake? What would you say to them?
Yeah, you know what? Being a believer of Christ, knowing that God's grace is sufficient and His mercy is new every day. When I did make a mistake, that was my favorite scripture to quote, just because I knew that I had a second chance at it. And you are going to make mistakes. That is just part of life. There's no way around it. But it's how you recover from your mistake and get up and try again. Like Doctor just stated previously, you have to learn from your mistakes and do better each time that you get. Each chance that you get, just do better. We all make mistakes, but learn from them, keep going, and fail your way forward to success.
Oh, wait. That was good. Say that again.
Fail
Failure
your way
forward.
forward to success.
Yes, yes. Wow. Now, is this your first book?
This is my first book. Yes, ma'am.
Well, guess what? I'm afraid to tell you, it's not going to be your last.
I received, and yes, and he has me writing as we speak.
Well, just keep on writing, because you have voice and a lot of wisdom that I think could not reach that particular audience, but you could.
Hmm.
So just keep writing, and like you just said, if you fail forward, not back.
Hmm. Hmm. Absolutely. That's a T-shirt.
Oh, there you okay, Apostle. I
Hmm.
didn't know you were back.
Hmm.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm.
Well, what else, Apostle, would you like to add in before we close out for today? Because I know these women have busy schedules, and I would love to talk to them for the whole afternoon if time would permit.
Yeah, just particularly what step or steps did you take to become or becoming the woman of your dreams? Because again, that's another, becoming the woman of your
Mm,
dreams is kind of like a cliche, and for some it seems so far fetched because they really can't fathom or think or see themselves manifesting what they've been dreaming of. So, what steps did you take to become the woman of your dreams?
That's a great question. Thank you. You know what? I'll start with Habakkuk 2 and 2, which is write the vision and make it plain. I
Mm,
wrote out
mhm.
the goals that I had set for myself. I put them on dream boards and vision boards, and I started speaking to those things and, actually just calling them out to me, because I believe that I can become the woman of my dreams. I can have the things that I desire, and just honestly, just writing and believing and calling them out and believing and having faith that if it did happen for my sister and I witnessed it, it can happen for me also. So I should believe it.
yeah, thank you so much for sharing, Dr. Kelly.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Apostle, what final thoughts or comments would you like to share about the guest that we have today? about their
Again, get the book, get the book. And this is just a few of the co-authors
chapter. Hmm.
that's when I said echoing yet their substance. And I know one day we'll be able to have all of them on the same platform, that we will be able to hear their heart, their mind, and also their spirit, in a sense of sharing their journey, their experiences, and her story. And
Yes,
so they will be able to empower you. I truly believe upon sharing or writing their book, they thought, well, I'm just contributing a piece, not realizing the impact of their words. And so I would like to say thank you so much um, for sharing yet your all, for your contribution, for allowing yet your voice, your frequency to echo and reverberate yet in the sound, and cause one to look in the mirror and see themselves. And now they would value their story, value their history, hold on, embrace yet their experiences, and not take it for granted anymore because of your life story. Thank you so much for this being a part of this journey. Congratulations.
yes.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And
Mhm.
Apostle, thank you for obeying God by putting this together, this anthology together.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Yes.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Well, Dr. Shante, can you type in the comments how people can get in contact with you, your social media, your website, how they may be able to reach you?
Yes, ma'am. I'm typing it now.
You typing it out? Okay, very good, very good. And while you're typing, can you tell them any? Do you have any final closing comments?
Excuse me.
Um, Final closing comments. Um, yes, we can do anything that we set our minds to. We can manifest anything that our heart desires. We just have to believe in it ourselves. If we don't
Very,
believe in it, it can never happen. And if we have to give back to the next generation of individuals that are going to be taking care of us. If we want it to be right, we have to pour back into the cups. We can't keep leaving them half full.
that's right.
Powerful, powerful.
Very well said. Very well said. And Miss Shaquita, I know I should have asked you while you were speaking, but what are some of your final comments or thoughts? And also at the same time, type in the chat how people can get a hold of you and reach you.
Absolutely. My final thoughts are to the next generation is don't be afraid to be yourself. You are unique. You were created different for a reason and for a purpose. Do not try to be like the next person. Believe that God has put you here for a reason and He has
Mhm,
stored
mhm,
something inside of you that no one else has. And just
mhm.
be great.
Very good. Very good. And Miss Joanne, what are your final comments or thoughts? And also do the same. Type your contact information in the chat as well.
So my final thoughts is I would love for everybody to remember, live your life like you want your obituary written. I'm going to say that again. Live your life like you want your obituary written. Don't wait for someone else to tell your story. Live your life the way you want your story to be told on that podium.
Powerful.
Wow. Ooh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. And Miss
Indeed.
Nicole, what are your final comments or thoughts or words of advice for the listeners?
Well, I would like the visitors to walk away today just feeling empowered. I mean, I don't even know if we should still call them nuggets. I mean, I feel like that's just undermining all the wisdom and all the pouring that has been discussed on this platform today. I'm gonna think of a better word for our next interview, but they're not just nuggets. I mean, a person can take literally something from each one of us and reset their entire lives. So, I mean, I really believe that if you tune in, if you share this, interview today that you should walk away empowered, ready, scared, maybe, a little apprehensive about things, but ready to move into your next season.
Yes, 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 yes. Very good. And in the comments on your page, put your social media handles, as they say, or ways that people can reach you.
I did. I put it
Okay.
inside of the comments already. But
Okay.
just for the record, I'm L. Nicole Goodman, and I can be reached on all social media platforms that way.
Very good. Very good. All right. And last but certainly not least, Miss Toya. What are your final comments or words of wisdom?
I would just have to say that you're not my enemy. I'm not your enemy. I'm here to help you. You're here to help me. If we would just look at each other as being a pillar that we can learn from, a vessel that is there to be utilized, you'll be great. Everybody is not a threat or an enemy.
That needs to be a T-shirt.
Yes. And
Everybody.
affirmation cards.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Apostle. Affirmation cards. Yes,
Amen.
yes. And don't forget to put your contact
Yes.
information in the comments as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, Apostle, again, thank you so much for bringing these group of women together. And I know that there are others, and hopefully we will get a chance to meet them and hear their stories as well. And so now, drum roll, please, Apostle, tell us, when is the book going to be released?
It's going to be released on next week. Yes, ma'am.
All
It's
right,
a few
congratulations,
finishing
everybody.
touches, but yes, next week for sure.
Very good, very good. So again, buy the book, buy the book. You will not be disappointed. I promise you. So we are going to, well, first, let me just say to all my guests, hang tight. We want to talk in the green room after. But for those who are watching, thank you for watching. You could have done anything with your afternoon that you chose to do, but you chose to be with us. So again, share this video. You never know who will be blessed, encouraged, and inspired by it. So again, thank you for watching. And as I always say, subscribe. Woo! God be the glory. I am totally booked up till August, I want to say September. I don't know. Anyway, but there are a lot of other conversations coming up you don't want to miss. And I can't tell you everything all right now, but just say, I will say, keep watching and subscribe so you'll know when things are coming down the road. Because again, God put them together, not me, and it's going to be a blessing. So again, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, you all stay blessed. I love you and be encouraged. And there's nothing you can do about it. God bless until next time.